Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining Carolina every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. Thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do hit the like button. Share with friends and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth and both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. Today, Saffron Tiger is back with us. Welcome, Saffron.
Namaskar, Meena ji, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers wherever they are based. And it's my pleasure to be with you and yet another candid session. So really looking forward to discussing some important issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the first breaking news that is about Adani. Adani has brought a big stake in NDTV, and the decades-long rumors have finally come to an end. His buying NDTV is quite a massive development, which may trigger a lot of changes in the near future. He's going to indirectly acquire 29.18% stake in the media group NDTV. Now, NDTV has three national news channels: NDTV 24/7, NDTV India, and NDTV Profit, besides having a strong online presence. The company recorded a revenue of rupees 421 crores in the financial year 2022, with an EBITDA of rupees 123 crores and a net profit of rupees 85 crores during the fiscal year. So now, looks like this guy has struck gold. When this Pranoy should actually be in jail for the number of fake stories that he's been running with his whole team. Now he strikes, gold. I find that very, depressing to even think about it, Saffron, because there are a lot of people, right wingers, like us, who are struggling to bring a channel or to, bring forth news that is honest. Okay. And here is an example, of a dishonest channel being bought, by one of the top businessmen, and which benefits them. Sure, there will be an argument saying that he will turn it into a right winger channel, but imagine the people you do not fund. The number of people who can't, start channels on their own because they do not have the money. So this is quite a sort of a sad note. Yeah.
Absolutely, ma'am. I think there are two sides of every coin, I would say. So first of all, Adani buying a good stake in NDTV means that there will be less bashing for Sanatanis, right? And definitely some skeletons of the leftist politicians, so-called leftist politicians, who are having some kind of crimes or corrupt activities attached to their names, they will come out in the future. So that is one good thing. On the flip side, I would also put this argument that this is in a way it's also taking domination, because like NDTV's with the decline they had in their TRPs as well as the revenues, now it's going to bolster up their revenues automatically, because definitely with Adani there will be a lot of ads coming in, there will be a lot of airtime given to the activities of development done by the government. So a lot more airtime will be given to those things. And apart from Republic channel, NDTV will also I wouldn't say come on par with it, but definitely will be a competitor in the way news is being presented in front of everyone. That being said, there is also a dangerous side to it, because with the domination, right, we shouldn't turn into there should be objectivity that is still maintained, right, because it is very easy for any government, I should say, once they have domination over the media, to manipulate or affect the mindset of masses. So it is very important for people like ourselves to be aware, to maintain that objectivity, and to continue to call spade a spade, call right a right and wrong a wrong, and uh, question these people, even if we see that regardless of right winger, left winger, whosoever it is, or of someone of moderate views, question these people and make sure that the core values of our Sanatan Dharma are not maligned, are not compromised, and truth comes out in front of the people.
Yeah. Just like Satyame Jayate said, now Adani will provide 50,000 jobs. Yes, that is a good side of it, Satyame Jayate. But the fact is that, see, it is also up to the government to keep a sharp eye on those who are doing patriotic work, and trying to project country in the right light. And these people are suppressed, made fun of, because we criticize both sides. We do not take a stand. We do not say that, see, BJP is good, or Congress is good, or any other opposition party. Respect us for that, and tell us, do you need any help? We don't ask. We will not ask you, because arrogance among politicians is so high. Even if you just tweet something, they feel that, see, you're all underdogs. you know so this thing of not supporting the people who really stand, I'm not saying with the party, with the country, who
Exactly.
project the
Nation.
truth, who project the right news. These are the people the government should be supporting, and especially someone like Modi ji, who's been doing a lot of right things in his tenure. He should appoint a committee to recognize who are the people who are not spreading fake news, and who are true to their journalistic abilities. So this is something that I also feel, Saffron. There are the good points as well as the bad points, and these are some things that a normal journalist would feel. Now, another very funny thing that's come out, I would rather than funny, I would say it's very weird, is about Big Boss shows. Okay, so let me just go to that. Yes, this lady. Okay, something very strange is happening, Saffron. From Siddharth Shukla to Pratyusha Banerjee to now a 41-year-old Sonali Phogat, who was an actress turned politician and who recently died of heart attack. There's something very strange happening among the Big Boss contestants, whose sudden demises, leaves everybody shocked and stunned. In fact, Siddharth Shukla's sudden death in the prime of his life, at the peak of his TV career, and the terrible state of his, what was happening in his life, and the way his girlfriend was acting, left everybody shaken, because nobody believed that it could have been a natural death. Now, see, we are talking not only about him, we are talking about Pratyusha Banerjee. Her body was found hanging in an apartment. She was 24. Then there was Jayashree Ramaya, a Kannada actress, of Big Boss fame, who died by suicide at the
Hasil
Sandhya Kiran Old Age Home and Rehabilitation Center on the outskirts of Bangalore. She was only 30. Then there was Somadas Chatanur, who they say died of coronavirus. Another Swami Om, who also died of coronavirus. Now, in a shocking turn of events, this 41-year-old Sonali died of a heart attack, and the actress turned politician who had participated in this Big Boss 14 reportedly complained of uneasiness and was shifted to a hospital. She was in Goa when she suffered a heart attack. As the news of her demise hit the headlines, many of her co-contestants from Big Boss, started expressing their shock. Now, what I want to, say, Saffron, is that there's something very weird, because this lady looks very normal, and it's not like she was sick. So there's something terribly wrong happening in Big Boss, and I don't know, how we could find out what is happening, backdoor, in backstage. So, why I'm saying this is, Saffron, because as a journalist, your ears go up whenever there is a sudden death of a young guy or a young woman, and this was happening in the case of a lot of the actors who were in Balaji television serials. So why were they more from Ekta Kapoor serials? So this all this Pratyusha and Siddharth and Sushant, all of these people were in her serials, and this lady never looks shocked. She always says they're all depressed. You know, so there's something very eerie going on in this.
Ma'am, there was one comment by Mr. Mohan here saying that Bollywood's directors and producers are eating up many actors from approximately 3 decades. He's partially right. I think it's more than 3 decades. It's just that we have become aware of these deaths now with the advent
Yeah,
of social media and a voice being given to commoners like us to speak
yeah,
out and make an impact. That said, I think. You're right on the money when you say that there is something eerie, something very heinous associated with Big Boss. The kind of deaths that have been happening uh, with the conjunction of the Bollywood cabal, and every death is like either termed as a suicide or a heart attack. I think after SSR death, the they've come up with better ideas to not make it look like a suicide, but instead name it as a heart attack, and it doesn't take a genius to understand when you see that, someone like Pista Dhakad, who died in an accident, she was associated with Big Boss. Then you had Siddharth Shukla, who died of a heart attack. And Pista Dhakad, I think she died before Siddharth Shukla,
yes,
and she
yeah,
was it was made to look like it was an accident, and then
yes, yes,
Siddharth Shukla for heart attack. And now I think that the heart attack theory has been working really well for the cabal. I don't know if it was a genuine heart attack or if she was given something that leads to a heart attack, but
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, it is very very fishy that people who are having these untimely demise are somewhere like been associated with Big Boss. uh, I don't know if they were privy to some secrets that could have compromised Mr. Dabang's reputation,
Mhm.
or were they treated by Mr. Dabang in a way that that could compromise his career, because we all know that he is the closest associate of Dawood Ibrahim, and that is the one reason why he controls all the careers of all the people in Bollywood industry. So definitely there is something fishy. uh, Now, also one thing that is very, I don't know if you all noticed or not, but when Shiv Sena was in power, like not like I'm talking about Thakre Shiv Sena, at that time all these incidents were happening in Mumbai. Now, ever since BJP Shiv Sena alliance has happened, and now it's the BJP government which is driving the government, this, if it's a murder, it has happened in Goa. Now we don't know if it's a genuine. Is there anything attached to it? Maybe the cabal has, uh, like you know, good relations with the law enforcement agencies in Goa, because these people, these druggy people, they will go to these places where there is more open culture, and drug activities, criminal activities are more prevalent than anywhere else. So I don't know if there is more to it, but it certainly seems very fishy, and there has to be an independent uh, investigation to find what's the truth, and if there is more to what meets the eye.
See, why I feel very suspicious about this is because remember, in earlier, some of the earlier shows of mine, there was a lady called Dhara, and she told us about victims of this pattern where, you join a dating online this thing and app, and what happens is that they first they start dating you, and then they physically track you, and then they come and they drug you. Once they drug you, they add not only drugs to your system, but they also add some medicines, which actually cause cancer. Now, once you're addicted to this, you cannot get out of it, and your body reacts in a very, very weird way. And you tend to get masculine features, and a lot of other repercussions that come, to you. And if you note in Bollywood, you would have seen so many women have suffered from cancer. We're talking about Monisha Koirala. You're talking about Sonali Bendre. So many women have suffered from cancer. How is it? And here again, see this lady who is hale and hearty, what happened to her that at such a young age she gets a heart attack and she dies? So obviously somebody is, shaking the cocktail or mocktail and deciding the fates of these people.
And people like these Khans and Kapoors, they are not getting cancers.
Yeah,
Everyone else
exactly.
around them,
Exactly. Yes.
right? They,
Yeah.
those are the people who are getting cancers, while the Kapoors, their fathers, they are like, leading the industry for a long time, for over decades, and those are the people who are calling the shots.
Yeah.
Even I would say that, like, some established directors, like Ashutosh Gowarikar, who have worked with these people, they have to toe their line and portray films as per the directions of these actors like Amir Khan. And if they don't do so, they don't get the films. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
definitely a whole set of people with high integrity are being compromised, either career wise, or they are killed, and, like, totally annihilated mentally, physically, by giving all these sedatives and whatnot. And you have to be part of those rave party cultures, like, in order to survive and thrive. And that's the most vulnerable spot where an outsider, like any one of us, who is, like, having any dreams to make a career there, can get compromised and
See,
might
here what
also.
you said, yeah, here what you said is exactly hit the nail. Because in Kerala, this is exactly what happened to two, Miss Kerala, and a girl who was also, selected as a Miss Kerala. So these two women, they wanted to become actresses. Now they were taken by a friend to meet, a certain people, VIPs at a hotel,
Mhm.
sub club 88 or something. Now, this is in Cochin. And the man who was taking them was a friend, a mutual friend, and a very trusted one. So he took them, he took them there at around 10:30.
Mhm.
And at 10:30, something happens. See, what happens in, other people have narrated it is that whoever goes there, they are given drugs, and then once they are given drugs, they are invited for a private, after party, which happens with fewer people and VIPs, where terrible things happen. Okay. So now we don't know what exactly happened to these women, but apparently, after a certain time, these two women ran to their car, and they got into the car and they drove off. Now, CCTV footage was all thrown into the river, according to certain people. And then there was a man chasing them in another car. All of these are luxury cars, okay? And at a certain point, they were stopped, and there was a CCTV camera there, and they were talking. And immediately, again, the girl got into the car and they went off. So they were driving at a breathtaking pace. It was at night, you know and then suddenly from somewhere they say a scooter came, from the other direction, and this car hit the scooter. The man escaped, he ran off, and these two women, and the friend, I think, the friend didn't die, the two women died, and the driver had some very
Wow.
few injuries. Now, the friend who actually brought them there was himself a drug supplier, you know, and a person who used to supply models also for shows. So you can imagine how well contrived it was. And this hotel was owned by a man who's a very famous man, because he was the son-in-law of a not a drug, an alcohol baron in UAE. And they had a wedding exactly like Princess Diana's wedding in Kerala, in a chariot with petals all over Kerala. So it was this man who was running this sort of racket in the
Wow.
hotel. But nothing happened after that. Okay, the man was let go after questioning. Nothing happened after that. No one was named. No CCTV footage was there. So many more deaths like this can happen in Kerala, isn't it? And here also, Saffron, before I give you the same, is that this lady who I spoke to, she also said that I can't name these people, but very prominent actors from Kerala are a part, They are the clients of this dating site. And the one who's the most popular in the younger generation in Kerala movies is the one who's been watching these women do sex in these dating rooms where they tell them what to do. Okay, and it is not only this young guy but his father as well. So many Keralites would know who exactly we're talking about because both are famous. And also, there's another man who's involved who is also a leader, in India, a young guy, they say. Okay, so these are the people involved in it. And for these women to get out of it, it is a struggle. Half of them get cancer, they die. Half of them can't get out of it. So it's a losing battle because wherever you run to, they catch you and bring you back. So it's terrible. So all this, I'm surprised. Even in this Big Boss, I think there's something terrible going on.
I think, ma'am, I do have some Malayali friends, so they might know who are you referring to. That said, I think what I would say is that, like, there is a reason why certain people have completely left film industry. Certain stalwarts, I would say, like Sonu Nigam, they left the country and are at a neutral location, I would say, from where they are leading their life peacefully. It doesn't take a genius to understand that, like, that the modus operandi of cabal has been the same. They have, like, plan A, plan B, plan C. Either, you know try to drug them or plant a charlatan in their life, or, like, give sedate them somehow and compromise their careers, right? Have them do some sexual things and then blackmail them. So we all know these kind of things do happen. There is also a trip that happens to Pakistan, and where they are, like, made to warm beds of all these uh, people from army and also political background. Sometimes, there have been, like, famous actresses who have done that. And there have been people who have gotten themselves out from clutches of Dawood Ibrahim's family, and who had, like, contacted us when we were, like, actively voicing for justice for Sushant Singh Rajput, uh, in the time when, right after he was murdered. So yeah, it's not a mystery anymore. The problem is that how do we bring out these people out in the open when we clearly know that they are having a good hold over masses? Because remember, like, people like us who are, like, blessed to have a safe and a sustainable life, full of ethics and moral values, we can think about all these things. Now slowly, due to these people from Bollywood cabal maligning Sanatan Dharma and bringing down Hindus, they are getting awakened. But still, it will take a lot of uh, information transfer, so to speak, to let the masses be aware of the modus operandi. And
Yes.
we need to have something like this being displayed by a major media channel, someone like, Republic or like NDTV, so it can have a mass effect. Something that says that, oh, you know what, seems to be fishy. The way they had spoken about SSR case, like, for example, it did create some ripples. Obviously there were, like, some major blunders that had been done by people. But I think in order to affect the masses, we need to spread the voice, because these people have, like, very good touch. Like, for example, you said these top actors, these A-listers, they have good touch with the media channels. They have good relationships with the law enforcement agencies. So one way or the other, like you said, they are going to bring you back. There is, we are getting one comment saying that Meena ma'am and
Oh, sorry.
somebody
Yeah,
was
yeah.
some.
Just a second. Just a second. Yeah.
I worked on the sets of Kapil Sharma show for 3 months. I have seen talented actors consuming tobacco and marijuana 5-6 times. Okay, there you go. So you have it from the horse's mouth, where he is, like, someone who's part of that operational activities, has seen it
Mohan
happening.
Bhosle, if you could come on our channel sometime, please email me and we can talk about it.
Yeah, so incidents like these have been happening for a long time, and we come to know about it only when someone famous has died. But there are so many people who are working behind the scenes who are compromised, and nobody comes to know, like, what's happening, right? Even Asif Basra's death was termed as suicide. At the same time, there was like Saif Ali Khan, which could be a coincidence, which could be a coincidence, who was shooting not far from where he died. But all these things, like, really don't even raise eyebrows uh, in the minds of masses, except, like, once it is shown on media that, oh, he died via suicide, everybody believes it, like, uh, without thinking anything about it. So I think that people like us, we'll have to keep talking about these things in the way that, like, the word is spread. Sometimes, if even if we get some evidences from here or there or from wherever, we should talk about it, because I think we are the few people who can, especially your channel, which has the reach, and the more it reaches to people, the more there will be awakened souls.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there's a very strange, sort of thing happening in Kangana's, life. So let's look at that. Yeah. So Kangana Ranaut is going to sue Filmfare Awards after they send her an invite. They want to give me an award for Talaivi. This might take some effort to wrap your head around, but she has decided to sue a leading magazine after they invited her to the awards night and wanted to award her for Talaivi. She shared a note on Instagram explaining her decision. She said, I've banned unethical, corrupt, and totally unfair practices like Filmfare since 2014. But since I've been getting many calls from them for attending their award function this year, as they want to give me an award for Talaivi, I'm shocked to know that they're still nominating me. It is beneath my dignity, work ethics, and value system to encourage such corrupt practices in any way. That's why I've decided to sue Filmfare. She was nominated in the Best Actress category in a leading role this year for the movie, and alongside Kiara, Kriti, Pariniti, and Tapsi and Vidya. So not just Filmfare, she's also called for a boycott of Oscars and Emmys too, which that they did not pay in memoriam tributes to Lata Mangeshkar. We must take a strong stand against any local awards who claim to be international and yet ignore and intentionally sideline legendary artists because of their race or ideologies. Both Oscar and Grammy failed to give tribute to Bharat Ratna Lata Mangeshkar ji. Our media should totally boycott these biased local events who claim to be global awards, she wrote on her Instagram. We should boycott these snooty Western awards. So, what I find rather strange, is that Saffron, is that, you know, uh, she keeps changing, sides. Is it the effect of drugs or what happens? I don't know. I mean, sometimes she's in such a good mood with, Ekta Kapoor and her like, and the next second she's gone to not hit them exactly, but hit the Bollywood people. So we really don't know where she stands. So whatever she does, it sounds rather, you know, quirky.
मैम, ऐसे लोगों को सनकी कहा जाता है इन हिंदी. In English, there is a word called fickle-minded. So she is a fickle-minded person who is an opportunist of the worst order, and uh, all I would say is that, like, she is acting more like Rakhi Sawant, but of top tier. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
wherever she sees an opportunity, she will try to get footage, just because she has become a highest paid actress and she has been one for like last few years. वो पैसा दिमाग में घुस गया है, and like that is like kind of like, on top of it, age is also catching up, and on top of it, there is this jealousy also that even after departure of beautiful SSR, like, he still gets the attention. SSR still gets vehement support. He's always trending, so all these things which these vultures can never even dream of, like, those things are happening. What does an actor want? That even after they depart from this world, their legacy should remain, right? There have been very few actors who've been able to do that, and SSR was one of them, who who departed, was killed in his prime, and still continues to hold the baton right from God bless his soul, right from heaven. And this is something these people will never be able to achieve, because of the karma they've had, because of the associations they've had. She is the one who piggybacked on Aditya Pancholi to reach where she is now, and
Yes.
then she turned against him, right?
Yes.
And saying she is playing like, holier than thou, saying that, oh, I was made to do this, and black
She
cat in
also
the dark.
piggybacked on Hrithik Roshan, you know.
Exactly, exactly. How did she become like, how did she come into the forefront, as in like, uh, she came in that A-lister class after, like, she had that party with Ritik Roshan, and she made those pictures, leaked those, and then threatened him, and all those kind of things. She has understood the formula that, like, नेगेटिव चीजें जो रहती है उसमें इन्वॉल्व रहो, so you get some traction, and she is utilizing it to her advantage.
Yeah.
Much like how Priyanka Chopra also did, but Priyanka Chopra did it in a more, I would say, sophisticated way.
Yeah.
She is like more a lackluster version, where कहते हैं ना कि देयर इज अ सेइंग इन हिंदी कि कुत्ते को घी हजम नहीं होता, the ghee is it's not easily digestible to dogs. So yeah, she's one of those who has been given the most purest form of ghee, and that's why she's like, she's trying to do all this drama and get some brownie points there.
Yeah. Meera says, what's the truth about her affair with Hrithik?
I think there was certainly something going on. I would say it after watching, because I remember watching Arnab's and Ritik's interview there. I wouldn't like to take sides, because, they both belong to the same shameless class. I would say, it's just that, like, things went bad, and when two mad people, one who was just like, gotten divorced, and the other who has a history of playing damsel in distress and making the best out of it. What else can be expected other than, like, top level drama, which was out there for everyone
Also,
to see.
yeah. Also, very importantly, she wanted to be a part of the cabal. So that way, to get into Karan Johar's group, it was going through this channel. And she knew only that a fool like Hrithik would lead her into it. Now, Hrithik, as you said, was in the divorce phase, and he took her in and showed her exactly what are the games they play, at such parties. So it was see, this woman is so shrewd. She adds that to her information, So she'll take it out like cards whenever she wants, to hit at someone. She'll take out one of those cards and she say, like lollipops, they would put everything on a tray, and you could select the drugs. So it was just like, she used each man for her own purpose, and she also made them bad. So she maligned Mahesh Bhatt, she maligned Pancholi, every man in the process. Then, of course, there was this guy's son. I forget. There was another person's son she was using. He was the one who supported SSR earlier. I forget his name, so perhaps viewers will refresh me. And she used his son. And when the parents said, "Please leave him," she did not. Despite being the elder to him, she held on to him. Now, why did she use that guy? That was a young boy who was just getting into films. So it was like she was using men in a very calculated manner to reach her goal. So I don't think in anywhere here, Srija or others, I don't think anywhere love comes into this, equation, because love is something that comes spontaneously, and these people don't even know what it means. For them, it's all money. Everything leads, to the door of money. Their mantra is money. They don't want anything else. They sleep, they'll do anything they want, as long as they reach that door and they have, a few Lamborghinis or a few Porsches, and a lot of bungalows by the beach side. This is what they want, a life of luxury. And when Shrija is saying Hrithik Roshan was hospitalized for overdose of drugs at Leelavati, Kangana revealed, it's also a fact that, see, Hrithik had a brain surgery. So that could also be a part of what is happening in the cabal, because Rishi Kapoor also suffered from cancer, you know. So there's something really weird happening, and these people they seem least bothered, because especially the young girls in Bollywood, because drugs is a way that helps you to maintain your figure. It's like taking cigarettes, because I used to notice when we went to the east, on media visits, I would always notice that the Chinese girls would smoke a lot of cigarettes. And when I asked them, they said it's easy. We stay away from food. It's coffee and cigarettes that make us remain slim. So this is something that Bollywood women are actually hooked onto. They don't know. See, it's okay for the first few years, then it starts playing on your organs. I wish somebody would have the guts to tell them everything in dirty detail. What happens to your body. Then only will these women give it up. It's just a system that they've got so used to.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Ranawat was able to get herself out of clutches of the Bollywood cabal, even though she is like part of it. Maybe there is a backdoor deal that she has made, but really, really surprised to see that she didn't end up like others did.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was one big surprise. But kudos to her. I was her supporter, and at the time when she was voicing out in her own way about how people from Bollywood are compromised, until I
Here,
came to the
here, let me
video.
interrupt, Saffron. See, this is the same thing we felt when people like Crocodile, Nilot Pal, all of them were called in. We believed them. We thought they were true. But everyone proved us wrong.
I was never I had seen through Nilot Pal, I knew about his the crimes that he was associated in, and also like his associations with people who were who were potential suspects in the Jia Khan's murder case. So I was aggrieved. I was against them even at that point. But yes, that was the time when there were not many people were voicing against these people, or were not many people were taking that risk, so to speak, to call out. And when we did, we got death threats, our families, that we would be compromised, we would be tortured, picked up, kidnapped, and whatnot. All that frustration came out. But yes, there were very few of us, who saw through these shenanigans and exposed it in front of people. Otherwise, who knows, they would have been part of this campaign and they would have damaged it in their own way. Someone like him, he also went on to say that there was no party at that time, on the night when Sushant Singh was murdered. There was some party, there was no party. He was trying to give clean chit to Baby Penguin. So you can see where these associations of these so-called SSRians were. And God knows, if it weren't for people like yourself, these things wouldn't have been constantly vocalized on public platforms in the manner they are being done now. So hats off to you for that.
Saffron, see also what you said just now with regards to the death. See, everybody knows that the neighbors very clearly said that the lights went off after a certain time. There was a lot of, sound, honking and all that. And then suddenly the lights went off. So, one thing what I find very, very frightening is that people like, Penguin and, the other actor, the fossilized actor who was a favorite of, Mahesh Bhatt, all of them were a part of it. And yet, none of them were named. And these people, the way they brutally killed Sushant Singh, shows how arrogant they are. What they have displayed is that, see, with power and money, on our sides, we can do anything we want, you know. And that's what's happening to these big boss characters. Something is happening, and somewhere they are rebelling and trying to expose the truth. And that is when they are caught and they disappear from the scene. Yeah, so the person I spoke, Maya, was Shekhar's son Adyan, who claimed that she used black magic on him using menstrual blood. Exactly. So Maya, so that's another gullible guy who fell into her net. Now, so going back to that topic, Saffron, so somewhere I feel that every time, whether it was Parveen Babi or Divya Bharti, all of them were Sri Devi, all of them were on the brink, Sunanda Pushkar, SSR, of giving a press conference and revealing, what exactly is happening in the cabal and who are the people involved. That's when they get bumped,
Yes,
you
and
know.
you have
So
to
it's
understand.
you and I, we are just joining the dots. That's it.
Absolutely, and we have to understand the stature of SSR at that time. Like, given the he was giving all these so-called A-listers a run for their money, and something like that coming from SSR's mouth would have definitely shocked the entire world. And given the reputation SSR had for being the innocent soul he was throughout, with a very brilliant performances in Bollywood film industry, uh, definitely his press conference would have had a very heavy impact, not only on the people who were involved in the murder of Disha Salian, but also it would have been the reason for debacle and the downfall of the Mahabusuli Aghadi government.
Yeah,
So, and I don't know. Maybe I might get a lot of hate for saying this, but the muscle flexing of the criminals was also due to the negligence of the sisters of SSR.
yeah,
I think if the
very
sisters would
true.
have stood by their brother, this could have been avoided.
Yes,
This could have been
absolutely.
avoided.
Yeah,
If your child is in such situation, you would take your child along with you. You would not leave them if you know that not in a good he's in a like mentally not in a good space, when he knows he's under a lot of stress, when he knows certain things about uh, like Disha Salian's murder. You would not leave them for a second. Why would you leave your sibling? That is a question that the sister need to answer.
yeah. And also, here when you said that, another important point also emerges. That is, when Disha was at the party, at this famous lady's house, her boyfriend was also there. And her boyfriend was a person she was living with. So, which means the relationship was very close. Now, her boyfriend was the one who forced her to go to the party. And when this argument started between her and her partner, and he told her to hold on, and it is at that time when they were questioned by the people at the party, and she blurted out what happened. That is when they decided to punish her. Now, why didn't this boyfriend, who's supposed to have been close to her, who has been living with her, sleeping with her, why did he expose it?
Well,
Okay,
those are the questions that need to be answered. But one thing that I like really doesn't sit well with me is that if there is a CBI investigation going on, why are people like Pithani and all those people who were inside that house, why are they out? Why are they living a normal life? Nobody is talking about them. Those are the people who exactly know what happened. I just don't know whether the agencies have been compromised, or the ministers have been fed with loads of sums of money, loads of cashes, loads of cash to shut their mouth. It is just beyond the grasp of my logic. Like something like this, if has happened, of this effect, with a person of stature of SSR, I think
yeah,
people are supposed to have answers. They are bound to answer. And
mhm,
also, I don't know, behavior of the sisters has been like, maybe now they have come around after a long time, but it just doesn't sit right. It's like too too good to be true and too late to act.
Yeah. Gloria says something very interesting. She says he was also planted in Disha's life, looks like Meenaji. So that could also be very true. See, I didn't look at it from that angle, but coming from that producer's barnyard, anything could be possible, you know. Because after this, what happened? He was getting a lot of ads. He was getting more serials. How come? Whenever actors are rewarded after a terrible event has happened, understand that the cabal is pleased. Mugamba khush hua. It's like that. You've done that. So what you say, most probably, Gloria would be true that he was planted and he did everything to their bidding because her mother was very clear when she said that. See, she did not want to go to the party, and she was actually cooking food for them. And the this boyfriend insisted, Rohit insisted that she should go, and they were honking the car, horn from below, and then she quickly, in a rush, she told her parents that she'd order pizza or something, and she went off. See, look at her fate. This is what I feel so sad about Desha. A young girl full of life, bubbling with life, someone who was, trying to make something out of her life. How she was manipulated by the man she loved, you know, and the people who employed her. So it's just, I mean, like, we can't see what Sushant has undergone. The kind of torture that he has undergone. A very similar torture this girl has undergone. There were deep wounds in her chin. Can you imagine what they would have done? It could even have been a drilling machine. You see. So these people are, and they just threw her, on the street without clothes. I mean, which man or animal would do that? It shows you how vicious Bollywood is. Yes.
Why is family of Disha Salian trying to defend the criminals? That is one answer, like in one question that needs to be answered. They are preparing like very badly edited uh, like videos, and they are not putting it on any mainstream media, but they are putting it on some third class YouTube channel, and they are trying to show it as if, like, that, oh, our daughter's name is being maligned. Who is maligning your daughter?
Mhm.
Nobody is maligning your daughter. In fact, anything, if at all, if there is anything that you need to have, is like, utmost gratitude for these strangers who are voicing for justice for your daughter. Now that is a different thing. If you have gotten, like, loads of cash from the government to shut your mouth,
Yeah.
which is precluding you from coming out and talking about the case, because one fact we understand, that your daughter is not going to come back, but at least do you have the moral conscience to realize that you will be able to die peacefully if you see justice being served in front of your eyes while you are alive? But no, it seems to, everybody seems to have lost that, right from the political leaders to all the way down to the law enforcement agencies and everyone. Why everybody is like hush hush, nobody talks about it, even in the media, except for people like us. Nobody is talking about it. So definitely something needs to happen there. I will be very disappointed before, like, next Lok Sabha election, if something does not happen in SSR case. Then I will be convinced that even the central party got compromised and this thing was completely wrapped
Absolutely.
up.
Absolutely. Going on to the next piece of news is about Swara Bhasker. Now she's very famous for her, whatever is scripted and given to her. Now she says that she doesn't believe in celebrating anybody's failure. She also claimed that the current trend is to spew hatred towards Bollywood, which gained momentum post actor Sushant's demise. So she says the same thing that all these other actresses are saying, that a lot of people are going to be jobless, and these technicians and all are going to be poor and all that. And what she says is that, see, she makes fun of the way, that it's after SSR's death that people realize that there's only drugs and sex in Bollywood. So what she means to say is that, see, we are seeing the wrong side of Bollywood, and that we need to give them a chance. Now, what is strange is that uh, Saffron, do we need a woman like her with her IQ? telling us, what Sushant Singh's death, impacted or meant, to the future, you know. And what does she think? See, the funny thing is, Safi, Cabal uses the most illiterate women, brainless people to pass their PR. And this woman is a standard example of that. Then you have Twinkle and people who are, who have even less brain, coming and telling us that, oh, it's all wrong. Then you have Adia Bhatt telling us that, even if you don't watch, it's okay. Our films will run, when they know, that it is the last nail on their coffin.
Ma'am, one thing that I have seen is that, Swara Bhasker is in it to gain attention, right? I think some of her cheap movies coming,
Yeah, absolutely.
and we all know that she is mother. She releases. She's part of all those movies with her mother of all flops of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
But yes, she does have a woke, I would say, a woke audience that is the same people, 3,000, 4,000 people, or maybe like even 1,000 people who like her tweets and stuff like that, and those are the ones who are going to watch it. And definitely she is trying to please the cabal so that she gets more movies, so that she can run her own house and malign SSR, right? That's what, these अगर SSR के जूतों को भी अगर हम ऐसे रगड़ते ना, तो उसमें से जो धूल है, वो धूल की भी बराबरी ये नहीं कर सकते ये लोग. So these are the kind of people who have been showing not only hatred towards SSR, but they have hatred for anything that is in line with the Sanatani values. They have hatred for our prime minister. What else can you expect from such people who are part of Bollywood, drugs, sex, rape, all this culture? They defend people like baby penguins, right? Who have been accused of uploading their most heinous crimes, and running a sex trade on dark web and whatnot, right? All these kind of things have been associated with them, and these are the people they try to serve, right? And now they cannot just see that there is a massive awakening, which has led to people uh, not shying away from their nationalistic values, and being proud of their own roots slowly. I mean, like, I'm sure there is a more work that needs to be done, but it's happening slowly and surely. It's happening. So these kind of things are rattling this public. When a person like Amir Khan, right, the so-called A-lister, his film can get flopped, then obviously the ripples are going to go all the way down. The way the distributors might be shuddering. See, good art, it is very difficult to boycott good art. I always say this, no matter how much we do boycott Bollywood, but if there is some great movie, there will be people amongst us who might end up
yeah. Who
watching it.
will? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, will end up watching it, but they won't talk about it. But with the kind of movies these people are releasing, the word is that you have to boycott them,
Mm,
because they don't have the brains, they don't have the
mm,
flair. people
mm,
like people like SSR, who had the capability to give good movies even when they were not, when they were compromised. I think SSR's Chichore movie, I'm not sure if you
mm,
guys have seen it or not, but it
mm.
was a beautiful movie,
Yeah,
and that came after quite a gap.
yeah.
He did go through a lot of mental torture by Ria Chakrabarti, and still there is a woke public which says bichari Ria.
Mm,
I don't know how can anybody in their sane mind be. You have to be a bigot at an astronomical level to be having sympathy towards Ria Chakrabarti. And sadly, India is a country where if you try to find one bigot, you will find thousands,
absolutely.
because because they are brainwashed
Yeah.
and ashamed
Mm,
to of their own identity.
mm.
you know
Yeah. So this is something very, very interesting that Savitri says. Meena seems Sonali's sister had told a reporter that something was not right about her food. Sonali had told herself to her sister this. Oh my gosh. So this is very true, Savitri, because the woman who came on my channel, she came a couple of times and then she got scared because she was being threatened. and then she did not come. So she also asked me to delete her videos because she was being hounded. So it's very obvious that these people are given food, drinks, and even you remember what was told to Ria by Kwan, Jaya Saha. She said that, see, when you put these drops in water, he will not even know the difference. SSR will not know the difference of something has been added to water, which means it will be tasteless. Can you imagine the horror? You're drinking water, you don't even know whether something has been added to it. And can you imagine, see, how dare you take a video of him, in that state, and he showing him as a fool, and you're some Einstein questioning him. I mean, I can never forgive that woman for that. How can you dare do that to an intelligent man? You know, it was at that time that she should have been slapped in public for that. Yet, ZTV had the gall to show it.
Because ZTV is interested in making money, right? They know that,
Yes.
like, oh,
And they
here.
connected closely to Ekta Kapoor, Balaji, all that. You
Oh,
know.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a very well-knit network that works together to affect the mindset of masses. Tell me
Yeah.
one thing. See, there are like absolutely a lot of possibilities the way these things can be done to compromise the actors and the artists. Uh, First of all, you try to drug them, sedate them. If you cannot do that in parties, the way you do it is on the sets, right? You get food, right? You can easily give some extra cash to the cook or the person who is helping out with these shows to add something. The actor isn't going to know where can they get compromised. And god knows how many actors must have been compromised, since the 60s, 70s, this might be happening for so long, right?
Absolutely.
When there was uh, congress rule, that oh, you make movies which make Hindu culture looks bad, you have to act in a certain way, you have to dress in a certain way, you have to push this narrative, further this narrative, that yeah, Hindus are like always into caste system and division, whereas some other religions and faiths are more towards this, so trying to create the
Yeah.
division,
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
okay to have whatever faith.
Yeah. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
like to say a very amusing incident. I was a cub reporter. I just started off working in Stardust and Savvy. It's a whole group, Magna Publishing. And I had to interview Jackie Shroff. So I had gone to one of their studios, in the outskirts of Bombay. And apparently he was in a shoot, so I had to wait. So I was sitting there waiting, it was taking some time. So what happens in the studios is that, just like you said, they make food together for everybody, you know. And this person came and said, "Madam, did you have some food? Please have." And he brought a plate of some food. See, at that time I was young and innocent, and I said, "No, no, I've got my tiffin." So because I was, very well prepared for these long delays. So I had brought my sandwich and everything. So I said, "No, no, it's okay. I've got it." But what you said is so true. If it was intentional, they could have done something, and they could have drugged you. They could have put whatever they wanted to that food. So well said. And this is what has been
Exactly.
happening all this time. And it could have been happening for ages.
And they could have done anything and then blackmailed you to write certain things which will
Things,
further their
exactly,
agenda.
exactly,
So that
exactly.
is the way these guys operate, and that's why I know of certain people from this industry who have tried to maintain their own activities and taken ownership of what food they are going to eat, what drinks they are going to have. They bring their own stuff and they
Yeah.
don't trust anyone. And they
Yes.
also patted us when we were voicing for justice, and they say that it's so great job that you are doing, and you are hitting them, you are hitting the cabal where it hurts the most. You hit their pockets, and it will cause them more hurt and more pain than any other kick you can give, even to one of their family members. It doesn't matter to them, because they sell their soul, they sell everything else. All they care about is just money. One way or the other, they want to get it, and when you hit their pockets, it hurts them the most. So that's why boycott Bollywood has to be जैसे हम खाना खाना नहीं भूलते हैं, वैसे हमें बॉयकॉट बॉलीवुड करना भूलना नहीं है. It
Yeah.
has to
Absolutely.
eat,
Yeah, be a
sleep.
part of the system.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly, 24/7.
Sunita says, ma'am, even Udit Narayan, the famous singer, reduced his singing assignments after getting threats from shady people. Very true. In every way. See, why do you think KK died so early? KK, I mean, it was obvious if you watch the show. He was saying, please, put the AC on. And he was almost stifled. He couldn't stand there. He wanted to get out. And these people didn't take him to a hospital. They took him walking back all the way to his room when there was a hospital just next door. So this also seems another planned murder. And what happens again, Saffron, is that, see, their people are threatened, and the whole thing dies off. Like, for example, Siddharth Shukla's mother, she kept quiet, her sister kept quiet, his sister kept quiet. you know and this little innocent virgin like woman, is sleeping around with everybody and says that she's getting roles everywhere. Wasn't she supposed to be someone's, girlfriend? I'm not naming her. Wasn't she supposed to be, someone's girlfriend, mourning like a widow? So this is all absolute trash. Again, like what I said yesterday, this movie called 365 Days, which is a porn movie, a soft porn movie that they're showing on OTT platforms. It is this actor who is now having an affair with Jacqueline Fernandez. Now, apparently, they are into some film together. Can you see the way people are attracted to each other? This woman knows exactly how to sell her wares, and she knows where she needs to land. And they don't have any shame. I thought that this whole exposure, with this, jailbird, would make her feel ashamed. But ethics and morals are only for middle class people. It's not for these people, you know. And she was begging people that I'm going to read the Bhagavad Gita, and they start reading from the Bhagavad Gita. They go to all the temples, hit their heads on every temple door. I was laughing to see another girl, Mauni, reading the Bhagavad Gita. In one scene you have her showing her leg, all the way up to her thigh, and everything out, you know and then the next thing, she's reading something from Bhagavad Gita and telling us that, see how, Sati Savitri she is. Who are you fooling? We're not fools. We're all very educated people. And that's why you guys are suffering. Your movies are not doing well. And if Amir Khan is saying that he's crying and he's saying that he wants to leave India, please do. It's a free country. Nobody's stopping you. You know, that's the best thing you could do for India.
When you have millions and millions of dollars by someone like George Soros funded all over the world to push an agenda and to break the societal structure, that's when we need folks to be aware, to be cognizant of their roots. And we are not alone in this battle. We have friends like people from Israel, our folks, and few other folks who have been who have been awakened and who are fighting for our cause, for our own identity. And that's why we need to curb this agenda and remain objective and remain cognizant and remain aware, not only about the criminals that we are dealing with, but also about the people. uh, Sorry, that saw a funny comment there, got a little distracted. But we also need to be aware.
Uh,
Yeah. So
Perhaps you want to comment on this before you continue.
yeah, I think no comments would be the best comment. The less said, the better. Right.
Coming from a person who nobody believes in.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think yeah, I think the need is now more than ever to boycott these people and hit them where it hurts the most. And that
Yeah.
is how we are going to achieve our objective and get those people to either fall in line with us or fall by the wayside. uh, and that's all I would have to say about it. 1 hour passed by, it didn't even realize that,
Yeah.
we are at the
And
end of
also, see, one important thing before you go,
yeah.
Saffron, is to all these people, who saying that they want to say bye bye and leave India because of the kind of, atmosphere that's created because of this boycott Bollywood.
Mhm.
Let us tell them very clearly in our voices that air tickets are available. You have different countries willing to take you in. Okay, please do us a favor, quit, go, because now we can't watch all these old grandfathers acting with 20 somethings, and copying stories from Hollywood and other stories, and telling us that, see, it can be rehashed and we would still have to lap it up. So do us a favor, leave India, and you try to market your movies in those countries.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nobody is stopping you from going. In fact, you would be doing India a huge favor when you do that, so that we have like a nation full of Sanatanis and nation full of awakened souls, which can live with all the different ideologies, faiths, and beliefs harmoniously as we used to over the years.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Saffron, for this wonderful talk that we had together, and taking questions and points from the viewers as well. Wonderful session, and good night to you.
Good night, Meena ma'am, and like thank you to all our viewers. And until next time, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.